Hello everybody, this is Gregory with how I lost over 100 pounds and have kept it off for 30 plus years, where there should be no hesitation in your weight loss and maintenance. Today I'm going to talk about 5 or 6 mistakes that people do at the gym who are in the need of losing weight. Now before I begin, if you need help with weight loss, contact me through the Clarity FM link found here in the episode notes. Also check out my website, Naturopathic Earth, or 100 pounds off for 30years.com. My 2 books as well, my podcast, The Awakened Man, which I've had since 2017. And lastly, if you appreciate my content, there's a link for PayPal. So I am recording this the day after Christmas. Yeah, I have a lot of videos queued up early ahead of time. That's just the me, it's the planner in me. So I'm at the gym, and understandably so, a lot of people who like to work out the day after the gym, or day after the gym's closed for Christmas, because they probably overindulged during the last few days the gym was closed and they want to hit the gym again. It's totally understandable. It's the same kind of mindset or concept behind New Year's resolutions, which we'll have a video eventually on that as well. What I noticed though is a lot of the people at the gym who are overweight are making cardinal mistakes. They're making cardinal mistakes, and the intention is right. They're at the gym. It's like the CEOs, Christmas and Easter's. Christians, they only go to church on Christmas and Easter. Some people are kind of judgmental of them. They should be going every Sunday. The way I look at it, at least they're going on Christmas and Easter. So I mean, that's a start. That's a step. And so these recommendations or exhortations are all made out of charity, not out of being judgmental. But just as someone who's lost the weight and kept it off for so long, these are just some observations that I see that are just mistakes. So for example, like if you're really overweight, and we've talked about this before, you got to stop hitting the weights and you got to start doing more of the cardio. So I'll see these people at the gym who are at least 20, 30, 50 pounds overweight, and they're doing weights the whole time. And I'm there, so I'll know if I see them doing cardio too, but they'll just do weights. Again, I understand there's a lot of men who kind of grew up in that paradigm, just so we talked about Ansel Keys and how he pushed the paradigm, how fat was bad and carbs and vegetable oil were good. A lot of people grew up in that paradigm, especially men who maybe played football in high school, that I got to lift weights. So they get built, but they got the big belly. And so we've talked about how you got to lose the gut, and you might lose some muscle when you're doing that, but then you rebuild it later on. So connected to that, number 2 would be people who aren't lifting the right way. So I'll see these overweight people, and they're doing very light weights. Let's say 10 pounds, curls. 50 times. They're not even sweating it. No. Your body doesn't need to do that. Now, look, I mean, there's an argument like in the women's world, because women as a whole, even though we see the masculization of women, as a whole want to get toned. They don't want to get muscles. So there's an argument that more reps will get you toned. But as a whole, especially for the men, the key, if you're going to do strength training, which we should all do, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that you shouldn't do strength training. You should do strength training. But if you're trying to lose weight, cardio should be preponderant in your mind. That if you're going to do weights, it's heavy weights. Less reps, heavier weights, instead of the little curls where you're not breaking a sweat. Number 3 mistake is when they are doing some form of cardio, they're just going too light. I see these women like on the track. They're running with each other, but chatting. And similar to that are going to be people on the bike or on the elliptical that are watching Netflix on their phone. And both of these are similar in that when you are occupied doing something else, it's going to take away from the intensity of your workout. So if you are talking to somebody when you're walking, or certainly when you're running, you're going to go slower than if you're running on your own with music, or even running on your own. I know people who run with no music. It's just human nature, right? Because you're talking, the other person might be slower than you, and just the natural tendency is to slow down. And it's the same thing. If you're on the elliptical or the recumbent bike or whatever it is, and you're watching Netflix, you're not going to go fast. So my recommendation in both of these is run alone with music, with pretty high intensity music, and or when you're on the elliptical, when you're on the recumbent bike, don't be watching anything. Put a towel over the screen if your thing has a screen. Put on some music and just focus on a focal point in the distance or whatever you're looking at. Just get lost in the music, crank up the power, again, another mistake that people make is that they put very little power resistance, so they're going really fast but very low resistance. You gotta ratchet up the resistance where you're like sweating. It's hard because your heart rate's gonna go up. Your heart rate's really not gonna go up that much if you're just like Fred Flintstone. So it's all about the mindset. And the overall mistakes you see here is low intensity. For all of these, it's low intensity. And I've talked about before, and the studies vindicate this as a whole, for the majority of people, especially for weight loss and weight maintenance, high intensity interval training is the best way to go. Move the body, shock the body. So whether that be some sort of CrossFit, or whether it be one of those intervals where you're lifting weights and then you have to do something cardio in between, then get back to lifting weights, something that's high intensity. So you're running, you're doing sprints, the benefits of sprints. We don't have a video on that. But you're pushing your body when you're running to the point. Now look, if you're 100 pounds overweight, don't be running because you could have a heart attack. But if you're in moderate shape, you don't want to be running and you got to push yourself. Get that heart rate going. Get the sweat going. Same for the weights. Push yourself. Of course, do proper lifting, proper everything, proper mechanics, proper ergonomics. But once you have those things, like your proper running form and your proper lifting form, push yourself. High intensity. The sweating is good, right? It gets your toxins out. But in general, high intensity is the way to go. And of course, you want to mix this in with proper stretching, whether that be Pilates or whatever it is. Do some stretching, whether it's yoga. Don't get me wrong. Stretching is important. I've talked about how kind of the standard test to know if you're flexible enough, if you can be on the ground and then get up without using your arms. So just pushing your legs without using your arms. So it's a combination of all these things. But the cardinal mistake that I see today is just overweight people who are doing low intensity everything. Well, if you're doing low intensity everything, you're really not going to get the results. And look, I'd rather you be at the gym and doing low intensity anything or just walking on a track than doing nothing. But for example, if you're in any shape, walking should not be your primary workout. Walking is a supplemental workout to something that's more high intensity. So for example, I'll do a morning walk with the dog and I'll do an evening walk with the dog. Those are supplemental to my 5-mile runs or my strength training, whatever it is for that day. So those can supplement it, but they shouldn't be the main workout unless you're really out of shape and really overweight, and then it's okay. So in closing, guys, high intensity, whether with weights or with cardio, is the way to go. Guys, post in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. Hit the notification button. Until next time, take care, God bless, and pray.